All right, so here's the rules on the question and answer, just to reiterate. 1 minute to formulate your question. Well, I think this is the only microphone we have for them.
Yes.
So when you stand up, project, even if you're up in the front row, and the candidates can hear you, the people in the back can't. So you got to project loud enough for folks here to be able to hear the question. We'll give you 1 minute, state your comment you want to make, ask your question. If you want to ask a question to one or the other candidate, it's better if we get a question that you both can handle. Because the purpose of being here is to hear from both of these candidates so you can make a decision ultimately about which one you want to support. So it's better to get a question that both candidates will have an opportunity to answer. But you just can't control yourself. If you want to ask a particular question to one or the other candidate, I will allow that. But if it gets too one-sided, for whatever reason, I reserve the right to stop that as we go forward in the process and limit you only to questions they both can answer. Once you've asked your question, we'll rotate back and forth to who gets to go first. I'm going to give you gentlemen 2 minutes to respond. That looks like a lot of time, but the shorter the time frame, the more questions you can get. And if it's a real complex question, I'll give you a little bit of latitude there. I'll try to keep your comments or your responses back to these questions in 2 minutes. All right, I think I've laid out the ground rules. Who has the first question? Lady right here. I can hand you the microphone.
Thank you. On both of you, I'd like to ask this question. It's brought up so many times that the mayor is not allowing restaurants to come to the city, and that is ridiculous. That commercial growth needs to be here, and that we have not had the business man in the realm. And I disagree. I've watched this city grow for the last 25 years. And it's grown in a direction that's very, very good for all of us. If you've been on city council for 6 years, Gary, how many restaurants have you brought? You're a businessman, you're a bank. How many you brought in?
Karen, I appreciate the question. And the answer to that is, well, you also understand my job is to finance those companies. I am not actively out there looking for those companies. And quite frankly, as a city, we need to be doing that. Because Mayor Subby is, Mayor Collins is, Mayor Riley is, and Mayor Page is, four largest mayors in our district. They're actively out looking and recruiting potential new businesses, whether it's a restaurant or whether it's whatever else. We're not doing that. Why? And we need to, because again, those types of businesses provide you taxes. So you're right, I have not brought a business in. I'm not an owner of a business. I am not an owner of a restaurant. I help finance those type of industries, and I finance a number of restaurants.
Mayor, you want to make a response?
Yeah, I'll respond as the man with the till in leading the city. I have brought in hundreds of businesses across the last 3 decades because a business comes to your town for one reason: to make money. They don't come here because you're their buddy or they like the way you look. They come here to make money. And what we've done in Goose Creek, starting off with a blank slate, if we put in those water and sewer lines, we put in those roads, we made the neighborhood safe, we made the place attractive to live, we brought the customers nearby, and I brought in hundreds and hundreds of businesses. And if you re-elect me, I'm going to bring in more. But I'm not going to be out there trying to introduce myself to Mr. Appleby, because that's a waste of time. Mr. Appleby knows where I am. Mr. Longhorn Steer or those other restaurants I hear people talk about, they know where Goose Creek is. They know what the median income is. They know how many cars drive by their potential places of business. They know all those facts as well as I do, or maybe better. And they'll come here when we're ready. You lay down the physical infrastructure, the pipes and the conduit, and also the non-physical infrastructure, the zoning, the building regulations, the personnel policies, all the things that make the police department work, that make the fire department work. That's where they'll put a business where they can trust the environment. That's where they're going to invest. And I'll wrap up by saying, your city council is progressive, and it will continue to be progressive. We just spent over $5 million streetscaping and preparing the old downtown Goose Creek as an incubator for new businesses. So whoever the new mayor is, or the old mayor, You're going to have businesses growing there. The time is ready, and the land has been prepared, and the infrastructure is in place. Businesses are coming, and whoever the mayor is, and even if you don't have either one of us, the business is going to come whether you like it or not. Thank you.
Okay. Sir. If I can get a microphone to you, I will.
My name is Reggie Ryan. I live in the hamlet here in Goose Creek. I've spoken in front of city council a number of times. Most of the people here probably know my name. I have a question for both candidates. A few years ago, there were a lot of rumors about the golf course closing. And I spoke in front of city council basically demanding deed covenants and deed restrictions to prohibit it from being subdivided and developed into housing, Section 8, whatever. At the very last night of the final vote, Jerry TCAT voted not to put the deed restrictions and deed covenants, which means the golf course be divided, Section 8 housing. Mayor Heisler voted for the deed restrictions, which forever prohibited it being sold and split up. I'd like each candidate to respond.
Speak for us, just so I'm clear with this, exactly what the question is.
Why you voted for no deed restrictions
All right.
and why you
So
voted
justify their
for
vote.
deed
Okay, good. I'll let Mayor.
I got to go first. I brought the deed restrictive ordinance to city council, and it took almost a year to get enough votes on city council to be in favor of it and to pass it. I had a man come to me and tell me, Mike, I could put 22 homes on your driving range. Just a driving range. Now, I lose sleep sometimes over the city. That night, I didn't sleep much at all. There possibly could be future city councils that see that big dollar bill and would start taking little pieces of the golf course off. You can do the driving range without messing up the course too badly, but there's other opportunities to piecemeal that course away and sell it and build on it. If you have budget challenges, why not sell the driving range? If you have challenges and you don't want to politically have to raise a tax, then why not carve up the golf course? The deed restrictions prevent it. I wanted them to be a restriction from subdivision and forever. Then I negotiated 100 years, then 50 years. I finally got a few more council members to go along. When I got to 25 years, I had every single member of city council except one who was too sick to attend, and Mr. TCAT. They voted no.
Reggie, I did vote no, and I would vote no again today. And I know you. And it's very simple. The deed restriction, it did nothing for the golf course. It protects the property from being subdivided. It does not ensure that that golf course operates. Now, you heard me speak earlier. I'm a member of the golf course. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars of my own money at that golf course. I bought a house on the golf course. To sit there and say I'm against the golf course is common. Again, the deed restriction did absolutely nothing for the golf course. I'm going to relay a conversation I had with our mayor soon after I was elected, back in 2008. He sat me down in Columbia at the Marriott at the Municipal Association meeting, and he said, Jerry, what do you think about the golf course? They said, he's a big fan of golf course, I play golf all the time. I wish I lived there. And he said, I would rather turn that golf course into green space, open space. My mayor told me that. So how am I going to believe that it's his responsibility to protect the golf course? I don't. Last year, at a workshop, he told the crowd, told city council, that he didn't want to spend another taxpayer nickel on that golf course because we have already spent $4 million on the golf course. The very next night, we had a Sound of Summer concert. Now it was not a nickel, but no, I meant no more operating money. Taxpayers' dollars are taxpayers' dollars, whether it's for capital improvement or whether it's for operating. The golf course is an asset to our city beyond anything we have. There's approximately 950 homes surrounding that golf course. Reggie, you live there. If it's anything but a golf course, your property value will drop 20 to 25%, probably more. whether it's green space and open space, or whatever else it is. I wasn't against the deed restriction as long as the Goose Creek City Council controlled the deed. That was my hang-up. We own the golf course. Again, I'm not against the golf course, so thank you.
May I retort to that?
Yeah, and I'm, absolutely.
I need to retort to that.
Because now we're getting into an area of moderation, because there was some specific comments here by Mr. Teacack in regards to the mayor's record and the comments that were made. I will give the mayor a short opportunity to respond.
Well, it just isn't true what Mr. Teacack just said. I've never in my life said I wanted to turn the golf course into passive space. Never in my life, under any circumstances, anywhere, have I ever said that. I always had two phrases to that conversation. I said, if anything ever happened to the golf course, I never wanted to be built upon. And then I would say something almost quoting, you can never guarantee that a golf course will always exist. There might be a war, there might be a plague, people might stop golfing. And it'll be tempted to do something like build on a golf course, like at Kings Grant and Eagles Landing. That is repulsive to me. I never want that land built upon. It's a simple concept, but obviously I've had a hard time conveying it to some people. I went to city council and said, first of all, change the zoning from PD. It was planned development. After I voted for that golf course, to buy the golf course, I looked at the zoning, planned development. You can put anything on a planned development piece of property. I asked city council to change it to open space conservation. So you can't build on the golf course. Understand what I'm saying? And then I was afraid that a future council might change the zoning back to PD if they get tempted to build on the golf course. That's why I asked for the deed restriction. That restricts council from taking that action.
I'm not going to be showing bias to the front row, I promise you. We did ask if we could ask the next question. I'll get some people in the back somewhere.
This is for both. Mr. Heisler, what would you do if a citizen wrote you a letter saying that he had been accused of going to kill an entire family? And police were called, and they wrote a report, and it guaranteed that citizen that he would be able to take a polygraph, that they would put a report that he had volunteered and demanded to take a polygraph test to clear his name. And in this same letter that he wrote, he had his personal residence in 12 years had been broken into, vandalized, burglarized, damaged, property damage, suspicious activity 37 times. And the police department has done nothing. It was an attempt on his life, let's say, in 2006. Right. This is the question. If that letter came to you by FedEx on the 3rd of December of 13, what would you have done?
He's talking about his 22-page long letter, and I want you to raise your hand if you called the police and got no response.
Didn't say no response.
Did you call and the police were not helpful to you? You called the police and the police were not helpful. He calls the police over and over. I think you just heard him say something like how many times his life has been threatened. After a while, you throw the letter in the trash can. I threw your 22-page letter in the trash can. You have a reputation throughout the city of Goose Creek and in Berkeley County, the court up there. They've called me about you, too. I'm not going to read. If you write me a letter and you make some sense, I'll respond.
That's all I asked for.
Response. You didn't make any sense.
Part of my question is, both candidates, we heard a good bit from Mr. Teacack about financial future of the city. I could say hundreds of businesses have come to Goose Creek. Unfortunately, I'm very disappointed that all I see is title loan companies, storage units, things of these nature. We've got steel buildings going up, manufactured buildings going up. The management of the development of business in this city is very disappointing. What are you going to do for the future to try to control that and improve that? And specifically to Mayor Heisler, what are you going to do about the financial situation of the city in regards to the loans we're going to have to pay for the fire department?
Go ahead, go first.
Well, again, I think I explained, at least gave the numbers. And again, those weren't my numbers. Those are numbers that are given to by city staff. And I will also throw out that we have to improve our water line system between the two hydrant buildings. And we had a presentation from our consultant on that last year, and that's going to cost us $8 million. So again, that's more money that we're going to have to find ways to pay for, and that's going to come out of our pocket. My guess is it'll be funded through the water, your water bill. We are and desperately need to attract new business. I don't believe anybody here disagrees with that. It's the way we go about it. Well, you might not want to be contacting applicants on a daily basis. My plan would be, we have a vacant assistant city administrator role right now. Jeff Molinari left in January. I would like to turn that role into a full-time economic development officer. That is that person's job. The businesses of our community will be able to go to that person to help them through any issues they have with the city. That person will be able to go out and attract and try to have conversations with the business owners that are looking to come into our city and try to bring them in. It is a sales job for our city. Mayor Summey's doing a great job selling North Charleston. If we don't sell our city as a great place to come work, they're going to pass us by. It's very simple. I'm in economic development, I'm in business development, and that's what I do for a living. And I understand that they go where they're asked to go, where they're recruited to go. Boeing came here for a reason. It wasn't because they decided to drop down in North Charleston. The state of South Carolina, the city of North Charleston, and Charleston County actively recruited them. That's what you do, and that's what you have to do in this modern world to get business to come to our city.
Okay, the question was, what are we going to do to get businesses?
Improve the quality of the businesses.
Improve the quality of the
improve
business.
the future of the city.
Okay, and then there were some questions about the viability of the budget, the existing budget on into the future. Well, let me take the second half first. First of all, we don't have a $16 million budget. We have a $38 billion budget. So that was a statement made earlier that was not right. The other thing that was made that was not right is we do have the money in our general fund to man all of the fire stations that exist today and are on the planning board and the planning division to be built. We did that in a kind of a roundabout way that hasn't been addressed tonight. Tony, you were paying $70 a year to have your trash picked up. It was costing us $135 a year to pick the trash up. Why didn't we jack that rate up? We didn't jack it up because we didn't need to. We didn't need to make you pay what it really costs. We just took the money out of the general fund. However, now that we have an additional firehouse that we have to man with 4 firefighters, 24/7, 365, we had to have the money in the general fund to pay those salaries. We did that the last tax year by increasing your sanitation rate from $70 a year to what it really cost, $135 a year. And the difference is what we're going to use to pay the salaries, the retirement, and the health benefits for the four firefighters that will be on duty at all times in our new fire station. That's how we're going to master that. Now, the other question about viable businesses and restaurants, we have 2 business incubators in our town. One of them was created by your city council through their strategic planning and with what we called a charrette. Back in 1995, we spent an entire week with a consultant doing a charrette as just an exercise on how we can increase our businesses. And we came up with the need for a TIF district and the need to develop an incubator in downtown Goose Creek. And I've touched on that earlier. That place is primed and ready to be developed into businesses. The other incubator is at Carnes Crossroads. And the Daniel Island Development Company is developing those 2,350 acres, and they're developing a downtown segment to that that's going to receive our future businesses. We've enjoyed a 3% growth in revenue and housing starts across the last 15 years. I didn't do that, folks. I wish I knew how to do it. I got smart people that know how to manage that. You talk to any city administrator, they'll tell you that is the ideal rate of growth, 3%. If it's higher than that, you put too much pressure on your infrastructure to keep up. If it's lower than that, then you're wasting money. Thank you.
He didn't make a side from the record.
It's about the money. It's about the money.
About the 716 versus the 38?
No, about the paying for firefighter. The only thing he didn't address is how we're going to pay for the building, $600,000. I agree that we have $670,000, I believe, coming in for the $60 increase that we went from 75 to 135 on the 10,700 homes. But again, we didn't have in the budget the $600,000 to make the debt payment. So there is a need for additional revenue.
It is in the budget, Jerry. Can I retort to that one?
I don't know why they got a sheriff in here to be monitoring.
City council did not plan to build 2 fire departments and not know where the money was going to come from to pay the debt. We got that money, our regular income in our general fund. To think that we're going to plan to build 2 fire stations and not know how you're going to pay for it is just not sensible.
Gentleman here.
I've heard about the growth in population. How can you address the growth in size? Are we going to continue to annex or grow? Is there a physical limit on the city? And what's the plan for that or the vision for that?
Very first.
Oh, I get to be first.
We're trying to see what y'all.
Annexation is something that I work very hard on. It's very, very difficult. We have been very successful in annexing what you call the enclaves, areas that are surrounded by the city. We've been successful in annexing that. We have not been successful in annexing the hinterland around us because we have like Alcoa and Google. You know, you say, where's the business and where are you going to get your jobs? We have Alcoa and Google contiguous to us on the north. We have a large, like Nexton and Cane Bay to the west. They're going to have their own governments and their own way of providing services. And then we have Red Bank Road, which is a catastrophe, and I just talked to Representative Samuel Rivers today. We're trying to put together a plan for that out-of-district area. I don't know of any feasible annexations on the horizon except Devon Forest subdivision and Okatee subdivision, and they are not organized. But I talk to somebody in those subdivisions almost every week, trying to put people together and build a little niche and then start moving ahead. We need to annex those areas. But you got Alcoa, you got Google, you got Bushy Park is contiguous to the city. The city goes out to the base, out to the Bushy Park landing, that's contiguous to us. So we don't have a whole lot of options.
Well, I agree with Mike. We have not been very successful with large tract integration. And I believe we have been successful for a lot of different reasons. First and foremost, I think people outside the city really don't trust government. But I think there's a way to help them. I think as a city we need to explain to them, show them the benefit. And I know we've done that. And, you know, again, I agree with Mike. We need to do a better job of showing them what the benefit is of having one of our Goose Creek officers patrolling their subdivision, one of our Goose Creek firefighters responding to their needs, instead of having a rural fire department who's unmanned 24/7 responding to their needs, or a deputy sheriff in the largest county of our state having to send a deputy here. So again, it is a very difficult task. We need to do a better job, and I think we do a better job by explaining all the benefits to those residents. And again, I agree with Mike, we need to do a better job doing that.
How about one of our back row dogs to stand up? Raise your red.
My name is Laura Carson, and I've lived in Goose Creek for 25 years. I'm a little bit insulted by the ads Mayor Mike are running that say that I deserve a full-time mayor, because up until you retired, I didn't have a full-time mayor. So, 2-point question, why now would I need a full-time mayor when you weren't a full-time mayor before? And I actually, on my way here, got my taxes done. I completely disagree with everyone in this room that thinks we have the business to sustain this city. I am a small business owner, and I need clients out. I spent $18,000 last year on food and entertainment in restaurants. $1,100 of that was spent in Goose Creek. There is something wrong with me only being able to spend $1,100 in my own backyard. So what will you do to let me spend money in my own city?
Full-time mayor and about the spending money.
Again, during my presentations, I mentioned it. The mayor's job is a part-time job. I won't respond to the ad because I'll let Mike do that. But again, we have a full-time assistant, a full-time city administrator who runs our city on a daily basis. What do we do to attract new restaurants? What do we do to attract more businesses to help us? Again, as I've been saying over and over again, is because we need to be out there actively recruiting them and saying, come here. We have people, I drive downtown Charleston every day. I'm part of the mass exodus leaving our city at 7 a.m. and coming back every day at 5 o'clock. That's a problem. I would love to be able to sit here and work here and live here. And hopefully that will change in the very near future. So again, it isn't an easy task. It's not going to get fixed overnight. We have to overcome that perception that we're not business friendly or we don't want those restaurants. The issue is, you're right. It is a business decision. They're going to have to gamble, like every business does when they open it up. Whether they open up to Goose Creek, or whether they open up to Mount Pleasant, or downtown Charleston, somebody has to have a vision that they want to open a restaurant here in Goose Creek. Somebody's going to have to sit there and say, I'm going to invest my hard-earned dollars in Goose Creek because I believe I can make it work. At 37,000 residents and growing, I think that time is coming.
Mayor?
Well, I'll take the full-time mayor, first of all. In January of 1976, Goose Creek City Council adopted the strong mayor form of government. In South Carolina, you can have one of three types of government. You can have strong mayor, strong council, city administrator. In 1976, they selected strong mayor. We are still a strong mayor form of government. When I first became mayor, 36 years ago, we had 8,000 people in City Hall, was less than a half a mile from where I worked. I was a school principal. And city came to me, the police chief, the city administrator, they came to me, or I went to them. It was very doable. We almost have 5 times more population now. And my office now is in City Hall. We do need a full-time mayor. Folks, it is a full-time job. I work full-time at it. Lots of times I can't be in all the places at one time. And I live and work in Goose Creek. I'm not downtown Charleston trying to run a city out here in Goose Creek. I'm downtown Goose Creek, and I live in Goose Creek, and it's still a very challenging responsibility. I have delegated everything that I can possibly delegate so that I can be an effective mayor. And I went over that with you in my introductory statements on what an effective mayor does. Preserve the past, protect the present, and plan for progress.
You still didn't answer my
They
question.
had a two-part question.
What was the other part of the question?
I still didn't get an answer for the first one. Why didn't I deserve one then and I deserve one now?
Well, I would.
And the annual island development at Torrance Crossroads. I also forgot to mention that not just the industries around us, but the Crowfield Industrial Park is full up. It has all the tenants it can take at this time. So we have a good balance, industry, commerce, and residential.
How about the, all right, gentlemen, you've been,
Hey, let him respond. Let him respond to that question.
No, he didn't answer that question first.
Let him respond to it.
Yeah,
Because he held up his hand.
No, he responded to that question first. Yeah, yes,
You let him
sir.
respond twice.
Only if they're being attacked on their record. That's when I'm not going to do that. Yes,
I kept an open mind coming here.
sir. Speak up just a little bit.
I kept an open mind coming here and just to see what both candidates had to say. And I'm sitting here, I got to wondering, there were several, I'm setting up my question, there were several references to North Charleston, Somerville, and downtown Charleston. Also, there was reference to us being the 12th largest city in the state. So my question is, are we trying to beat North Charleston, Somerville, and Charleston? And did we get to beat number 12 by emulating them or by doing something different? The question is, are we not satisfied with where we're at, and why do we want to go there? There's a reason people moved to Goose Creek. There's a reason this became a safe place to raise your kids. There's a reason that we are here, not in North Charleston, not in Charleston.
So you're talking about more preserving the identity of Goose Creek.
Exactly.
Maybe. Let me rephrase.
It was eloquently stated, I agree, but I.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think the issue is, why do we want to compare ourselves to some of these bigger cities as opposed to maintaining the unique identity of Goose Creek?
We do have a unique identity. I do not want to be Somerville, South Carolina. I don't like it there. I don't like to go there. I don't want to be Mount Pleasant. I don't want to be North Charleston or Charleston. I want to be a growing and loving and friendly Goose Creek, South Carolina. And that is who we are now. I had something else that was brilliant that I was going to say, and I just lost it.
It's a great question, and how I'll respond to it is very quickly. The residents are coming. The 4,200 homes in Farms Crossroads, they're coming. Whether we do anything with commercial at all here, stay a small town, those residential houses are coming. Those 12,000 folks are coming. The issue is, when you build a single-family houses do not pay for the services that we enjoy. The taxes on the single-family house does not cover the police, fire, all the other stuff that we have to provide for that. How are we going to pay for that if we don't have corresponding commercial growth? I don't want to be Somerville. I don't want to be North Charleston. But I also recognize the fact that if we don't encourage more businesses here, people like you and I are going to have to pay more to enjoy the life we have today. Now, if you're willing to do that, then that's okay too. But my guess is, we talk all the time, no more taxes, no new taxes. We're not going to be able to stay the way we are, with the houses already coming, and no new business, and not raise taxes. That's a problem. You have to have commercial growth to go along with it. I don't want a Northwood Mall, but I would like to have some more businesses here. I would like to have that hospital here, and I would like to have the corresponding doctor's offices that come here. That's how it's going to get paid for. That's what we need to be working on, and not worry about everything else. Again, I work downtown Charleston, that's correct. Hopefully, after April 8th, that office may be moved up near the Goose Creek area. I've already had that conversation with my employer. But again, I love the hometown field. I love the fact that my son can play in the Goose Creek rec area. We have the hiker biker trails. We have all the parks we possibly enjoy. It is a great place to live. But the question is, will it still be that with those large tract homes coming here? I don't believe it is. I don't believe it will be without the golf.
Folks, we're going to have time for 2 more questions. Yes, sir.
I want to honor our moderator's request and frame my question to both candidates. So if the future of Goose Creek needs commercial growth, what, if any, steps would you gentlemen have to take to eliminate any perceived or actual conflict of interest?
Conflict of interest? I'm not sure I understand the question.
Jerry, you're a commercial banker.
Correct.
So the perception is that if you invite commercial businesses in here, would that necessarily include your bank?
Well, my bank is here, so
Right.
I work here. But yeah, there would be a conflict of interest if I was going to provide financing for that. So obviously that would be passed on to somebody else in my institution. So again, that would be a conflict of interest, just like it was when NVSC bid on financing the fire station. I recused myself from that bid. I had no part of that conversation. So yes, I would do that if my bank was involved in any opportunities here. I will give you an example of what I would propose to do to help stimulate commercial growth in our area. The city of Goose Creek just bought that old ugly building right by Red Bank Road across from Lincoln. We spend $195,000 of our taxpayers' dollars. I think that our city administrator is looking at tearing it down, what's going to cost us to do that. We own adjacent property to do that. What I envision us doing is asking the city council to say, let's engage a commercial broker and try to sell that. Let's try to sell that property at a discount. The hardest thing a business does when they come in is capital injection. Let's try to sell that at a discount and say, listen, the property's worth $1 million. We'll sell it to you for $800,000. You bring your business here, you establish your business here, you employ the people, you pay your taxes. After a period of 5 years, we'll sit there and say, that equity injection the city gave is yours because you've given us that money back over and over again by employing people. If they decide to flip the property, sell the property, whatever the case may be, the money comes back to the city, that equity we gave them. That's a way to provide incentives for our businesses that want to come here. And again, that's what I would recommend the city council do, not only with that property, but also with the headquarters fire station property, because we did spend a lot of money on those three arteries. And we need to be an active player in trying, because that's our property, we own it. I think we need to develop it and have somebody try to develop it for us, and again, try to do that at a discount.
Mr. Teacack is correct. We have no tools in our toolbox to give special discounts to businesses that we're trying to attract. We don't have the authority that the state has to give tax in fees in lieu circumstances, or you don't have to pay taxes for so many years, or no business license. We don't have that. Mr. Teacack has suggested that we give away city property, or sell the city property at a much reduced cost to attract the business. I'm not in favor of giving away any of that city property to attract the business. And to respond to the full-time mayor, what I wanted to say a little earlier is, I attend the Charleston Regional Development Alliance regularly. I have lunch and I discuss business with Boeing people, with Alcoa people, with Google people, with Bushy Park people on a regular basis. I'm the vice chairman of the Charleston Area Transportation Study Committee. Within 8 months, I will be the chairman of that. I've been waiting for 8 years. I've been working my way up. I'm going to chair the Charleston Area Transportation Study Committee. I'm going to be working with the supervisors from all the counties and tri-county areas and all the mayors to decide where the highway money needs to go. I'll make sure Goose Creek doesn't miss an opportunity. We are out there. I'm out there. Every day I'm out there selling the city of Goose Creek. I'm out there learning about our competitors and our partners in the tri-county area. It's not a part-time job, folks. It's a full-time job.
Let's go to the last question of the evening. I was about to call you before, so I'll let the orange sugarcoat.
I keep hearing about creating more jobs in the area. You want to bring in restaurants, Longhorns, and Applebee's, but yet you do things that are pro-growth, such as passing a smoking ban that applies to restaurants. Hey, look, we're going to tell you how to run your business. If I was a small business owner, I was looking to open up a restaurant, maybe have a little small bar on the side, I personally would pick Goose Creek, because that's where you start, where you can finish. That's my question. I'd like to respond to both of them.
So your question is specific about the smoking ban, or?
Well, my question is about if you're gonna pretty much do what you want to do, you can't be going out and saying, look, well, we want you to bring your business here, but we're going to tell you how to run your business.
Okay, so justify regulations on new business.
Yes, sir.
You must have regulations on everything that comes into your city, whether it's a business, a home, or an industry. You don't want to have a laissez-faire, yell, come. You have to have regulations, but you must avoid the long arm of government reaching into a person's business and telling them what or they can or can't do with illegal material, such as smoking. I know that's controversial. We have no right to reach into those businesses and tell the owner of the business that his patrons can't smoke. That's up to the customers, it's up to the owner. I think, now, but the other regulations, we need the other regulations. And I've talked to the last two businesses, Landmark and Fendermender, both of them said that it was a pleasure doing business with our professional staff at Goose Creek City Hall. The hurdles were high. The hurdles are high. If you're going to come to Goose Creek, you're going to do it right.
I did vote for the smoking ban, and I would vote for it again. And I think a vast majority of our residents, whom I represent, those are the people that elect us to serve them. The vast majority of our residents ask for the smoking ban. I work for the people, and that's what they ask for. I believe it's a health issue. I believe government is in your pocket every day. We tax you on everything. We just decided to raise the hospitality tax last year. Of course, we haven't decided how we're going to spend that yet, but we've been collecting it. So we are in every business owner's pocket. We're in every one of your pocket every day with regulations. Whether it's we're telling you how big a sign you're allowed to put up, or whether how big, when you can light your business and how much landscaping you're going to have in your business. And so there are all kinds of regulations. Smoking, in my opinion, was a major health issue. I voted for the ban, and again, I would vote for it again.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving a huge round of applause. Stand up and eat correction. We appreciate both of these men, part of their service, and they're now in Goose Creek. Can both of y'all hang around for a few minutes afterwards? If anybody wants to come up and say individually? Many thanks for some of them as well, and all of you who worked hard to organize tonight, and the meeting is adjourned.